You open the retirement calculator at 11:47 p.m. The house is quiet. You've done this before, but tonight you actually run the numbers. You're 52. You've saved $143,000. The screen says you need $1.2 million to retire at 65. That's a gap of over $1 million in just 13 years. You close the laptop slowly. You tell yourself you'll figure it out later, but there's a tightness in your chest that won't leave. You did everything you were told to do, and it wasn't enough. This is the retirement illusion. I'm going to show you exactly how it works. Let me introduce you to Mark. He's 52 years old, makes $95,000 a year. He's been contributing to his 401k since he was 32. 20 years of consistent saving. He started with 6% of his salary, enough to get the full company match. He increased it to 10% when he got promoted. He did everything right. Mark has $247,000 saved. That sounds like a lot. It's not. Financial planners use something called the 25 times rule. Take your annual expenses, multiply by 25, and that's roughly what you need to retire. Mark spends about $72,000 a year. His mortgage, his car, insurance, food, the occasional trip to see his kids. Nothing extravagant. $72,000 times 25 is $1.8 million. Mark is $1.55 million short. He has 13 years to close that gap. Let's do the math together. If Mark contributes $1,500 a month, every month, for the next 13 years, and the market returns an average of 7% annually, he'll have approximately $580,000 by 65. Add his current balance with growth, and he's looking at maybe $950,000. Still almost $1 million short of what he actually needs. Here's the first truth nobody tells you. Retirement isn't an age, it's a number, and most people will never hit it. Mark isn't financially irresponsible, he's mathematically trapped. The system told him to save 10% and he'd be fine. The system lied. Or more precisely, the system gave him a formula designed for a world that no longer exists. A world where pensions covered the gap, where Social Security was enough, where you worked for one company for 40 years and they took care of you at the end. That world is gone. Now let's talk about why Mark is actually behind. And this is where it gets uncomfortable. The system isn't just unhelpful, it's designed to keep you dependent on your paycheck for as long as possible. Think about Mark's situation. He's 52. His expenses aren't flexible. His mortgage has 11 years left. His daughter is finishing college. His son is starting. His mother needs help with her medical bills. Every dollar is already spoken for. This is what I call lifestyle lock-in. By the time you're 50, your financial life has hardened. Your expenses aren't choices anymore, they're obligations. You can't just cut your spending by 30% and invest the difference. You have a mortgage rate locked in from when rates were good. You have kids who need support. You have aging parents who didn't save enough either. The system counts on this. It knows that by the time you realize you're behind, you're too locked in to change course dramatically. And here's the cruelest part. The government offers something called catch-up contributions. Once you turn 50, you can contribute an extra $7,500 per year to your 401k. Financial advisors present this like a gift, like the system is helping you. Let me show you what catch-up contributions actually do. $7,500 extra per year for 15 years with 7% returns gives you roughly $188,000 more at retirement. Mark needs $1.55 million more. The catch-up contribution closes about 12% of his gap. This is what I call the catch-up myth. It sounds like a solution. It feels like progress, but it's a band-aid on a wound that requires surgery. The math doesn't work. It was never designed to work. It was designed to make you feel like you have a chance while keeping you exactly where you are. Employed, dependent, afraid to leave. Because here's what happens when Mark thinks about quitting. His stomach drops. Not because he hates his job, but because he needs his job. He needs the salary to pay the mortgage. He needs the health insurance for his family. He needs the 401k match because it's the only way he's even getting close. Mark isn't building toward freedom. He's building toward continued dependency. And every year that passes, the chains get tighter. Now let me tell you about Lisa. She's 55. She did everything differently than Mark. She started saving at 25, maxed out her contributions every single year for 3 decades. She should be the success story. Lisa has $780,000 saved. That sounds impressive. It's still not enough. Lisa lived through 2008 and 2020, 2 market crashes that each wiped 30 to 40% off her portfolio at the worst possible times. She recovered eventually, but those lost years of compound growth never came back. And here's the number that keeps Lisa awake at night. The average 65-year-old couple will spend $315,000 on healthcare in retirement. That's not a worst-case scenario. That's the average. Medicare doesn't cover what you think it covers. Dental, vision, hearing, long-term care, you're on your own. Lisa did everything right for 30 years, and she's still scared. I want you to do something right now. Calculate your actual number. Not the one the retirement calculator gives you. Not the one that assumes 7% returns every year and no market crashes. The real one. Take your annual expenses, not what you think you spend, what you actually spend. Pull your bank statements. Be honest. Now multiply by 25. That's your freedom number. For most people in their 50s, this number is somewhere between $1.5 and $2.5 million. Now look at what you have saved. Look at the gap. If your gap is over $1 million and you have less than 15 years to close it, the traditional path won't work. The math is unforgiving. Here's a statistic that should disturb you. Over 50% of Americans aged 55 and older have less than $50,000 saved for retirement. You might be doing better than that. But if you're being honest, you're probably not doing well enough. And the most common advice you'll hear is this: work longer. Push retirement to 67 or 70. Just keep going until you physically can't. This is not a plan. This is a hope. Your body has a vote in when you retire. Your employer has a vote. The economy has a vote. Most people don't get to choose when they stop working. They get pushed out. Health fails. Companies downsize. Industries change. Working longer isn't a strategy. It's a prayer disguised as planning. Once you see retirement as a math problem instead of a birthday, everything shifts. You stop asking, when can I retire? You start asking, what is my freedom number and how do I close the gap? Here's the framework that actually works. First, calculate your real annual spending, not your income, your spending, every dollar that leaves your accounts in a year. Second, multiply by 25. This is your baseline freedom number, the amount that, invested conservatively, should sustain you indefinitely. Third, attack the gap from both sides. Increase income where you can. Decrease expenses where you can. Every dollar you cut from your annual spending reduces your freedom number by $25. Fourth, build optionality now. Get 6 months of expenses in liquid savings. This isn't retirement money. This is freedom money. The moment you have 6 months saved, you can negotiate differently. You can take risks. You can leave situations that are killing you slowly. The goal isn't to retire at 65. The goal is to become optional before the system decides for you. The retirement illusion is real. It's sophisticated, but it's not unbeatable. The people who break free don't have better salaries or better luck. They just saw the trap for what it is. They stopped believing the math that was sold to them, and they built their own equation. You have that same choice. You can keep following the old playbook and hope the numbers work out. Or you can face the math, build a real plan, and start closing the gap today. If you want to learn the actual mechanics of building wealth in your 50s, instead of just saving and hoping, subscribe to this channel. We break down the psychology of money, the systems working against you, and how to beat them. New videos every week. Each one gets you one step closer to real freedom. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.